And welcome back to GSA, folks, to our any percent Super Metroid tournament matchup between ARealCutie and sloaters27. I'm Electric, and here co-commenting with me is Tracy M. Tracy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Electric?
Pretty awesome. Not gonna lie, haven't seen a whole lot of Super Metroid, but really excited for this race. We got a great matchup, and they're already off. We got them in series station at the moment. Pretty much overall an auto scroller, but there are a few opportunities for them to lose a second or two here and there.
Absolutely. So the Sears Station section here, basically what they're going to do is they're going to go and they're going to fight Ridley. I say that with air quotes because they're not actually going to fight Ridley here. You can kill Ridley. It's 100 shots, but this is a speed run. No one wants to wait for that. So they're just going to damage themselves down until Ridley takes the baby Metroid and flies away.
Now, they're going towards the back here. What are they doing? I've noticed they try to tend to hit the tail a lot. What's the deal there?
Yeah, the tail's going to do a little bit more damage. So they want to damage themselves as quick as possible to get out of here.
Ah, I see.
Okay, yep, you see Ridley flying away, and now they're gonna try and get out of here as quick as possible, because of course this is a speed run.
And we see a real cutie with what looks like a 3 millisecond advantage on the in-game timer here. And we're coming up to one of the kind of RNG points, pretty much the only one in Series Station. The tiles falling here, they won't actually damage them, but they will slow them down if they hit them too badly.
Absolutely, those tiles and those puffs of smoke you're seeing, those will definitely slow you down.
And of
And
course, this impressive tilted climb must have been
yeah,
a real sight whenever this NES was a modern console.
when yeah, I was. I'm old enough to have been around when it was a modern console, so um, as we get to the planet, let me talk a little bit about these runners. Sloaters, has a PB of 44:34 at old route, which is what he's going to be running here. His new route PB is 43:34, only a full minute faster, kind of giving you an idea of the difference between old route and new route in terms of time. Cutie is strictly a old route runner himself, as a PB of 43:55. So these guys are really close. Sloaters has a tendency to run whatever his opponent is running. So we fully expect that's what's going to happen. We're going to get an old route versus old route.
All right. And of course, they're going to be going here. You got to get that morphing ball and the bombs before you can really do anything super productive. But
Yeah,
here
that
within just a
morph
few
ball.
minutes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
morph ball being the one item in this game that you absolutely can't beat it without. And actually, in the vanilla version, you need those bombs too, because you don't get power bombs for quite a while.
And so we see them nice, especially from a real cutie. Nice fall there. Sloater taking a little bit of a slower route, looks like.
Yeah. So what Cutie does, and the Sloaters does not do. Cutie turned on Moonwalk before he started, and what that does is if you hold a jump while you moonwalk, because basically moonwalk allows you, it's very much named after the Michael Jackson moonwalk, allows you to shoot and move at the same time. If you jump after that, it uncaps same as his fall speed, and that's why Cutie went down a lot faster. Sloaters is anti-moonfall, so to speak, does not use the moonwalk. Basically, a lot of people don't like using the moonwalk because it messes with their boss fights later on.
Ah, I see. Makes a lot of sense. Definitely going to be needing a lot of precision, not necessarily for Cray with that crit kill, but especially when they get to Fantoon and Dragon, there's going to be a lot necessary for them to get through those guys fast.
Well, and actually, the one that it hurts the most in is usually the Ridley fight.
Ah, I see. That's right, because he moves so much around the screen, right?
Exactly.
And so Real Cutie with the early lead here from that Moonwalk strat. Gonna be going up into Power Bombs in just a moment. And within a few minutes, we're going to
Regular
be
bombs.
seeing.
We're
Oh,
gonna get our regular bombs first.
commentator getting ahead of himself a little bit.
That's okay. It happens.
Now, there is a pretty decent skip coming up here, right? With the Mock Ball tech.
Yeah. So we'll get there in a little bit. It's good. Basically allows them to get their super missiles earlier and skips an entire boss fight because of it. But for now, we need to get to the bomb chorizo fight. That's where Cutie is headed right now. Both doing a very nice right side wall jump climb. That climb is my least favorite room in this game because it's super technical, and it's not a hard room so much as it just slows you down if you're not good at the two general methods. These guys both doing the wall jump climb. There's also the what I call the ledge grab climb, which was pioneered by Just Defend and made popular by Behemoth. That basically you do a bunch of ledge grabs up the ledges, so to speak. Um, okay, so now we're into the BT fight. Basically, what these guys want to do, they're both at full energy, which is really important because they're going to want to get missile drops. They're going to shoot a few times, it's like 5 times, and then they're going to get all those missiles and shoot those missiles. And if you time it properly, you miss the animation where you only get half a face. You want to make sure that you kill him before he gets to below 100 because that's when that animation happens and that's going to slow you down. Both doing a very nice job of it, picking up their all full missiles afterwards, which will be important coming up soon.
Yeah, but missile count really, really important in this run. I believe the optimal way to do this run, they're only going to be getting a total of 15 missiles in reserve. So
We'll see. The lowest amount people will get in any percent run is 15 missiles, 10 supers, and 5 power bombs. Uh, these guys I actually expect to take the extra safety of getting one more extra missile pack. Even Zost, who's one of the best in the world, if not he and Behemoth being the two best, it's hard to really pick between the two considering they have PBs 1 second apart. With one being the world record from Behemoth and Zost being second in there. Um, but even those guys will pick up that extra missile sometimes, just because when you get to Mother Brain 1, those snipes can just end your run right there, and those are very hard to deal with.
absolutely. I mean, that mother brain fight, brutal even for speedrunners. I mean, especially casually, but speedrunning this game, she can definitely be a huge challenge.
hmm Okay, so now we're going to get to that mock ball you're talking about. So right here, they're going to do a mock ball over this crumble block bridge, and that's going to allow them to pick up supers right now. So these super missiles, important to the game. If you don't pick them up here, then you have to pick them up in the intended spot, which would mean having to kill an extra boss called Spore Spawn. And nobody wants to fight Spore Spawn. Spore Spawn is a slow boss. It's out of the way. This isn't the what I call the most important sequence break of the game because there's another one that's going to come up and we'll talk about it when we get there. But just saving that time for having to not having to do that fight is just really important for these guys.
And now, how does that mock ball tech work? Because I know that it makes Samus's running speed convert into your rolling speed, but
Yeah.
how are they executing that?
What you want to do a mock ball. It took a while to learn this. Some people pick it up a lot faster. Basically, they're going to jump, let go of all the buttons, and then they want to do what's called a soft morph, which means as soon as you land, you're doing a morph, and then immediately push to the direction that they're going, and that will allow them to go just enough faster to get under those gates.
Both of them now scoring the charge beam, a pretty important beam to grab, especially when they get into Mother Brain 2, correct?
Yeah, that charge beam is absolutely necessary for this run because they do not pick up nearly enough ammo to do these fights. Mother Brain 2 would take 60 super missiles to give you some idea, 180 regular missiles to defeat, and that is a lot of extra ammo pickup that they don't want to do. And you can't even get 60 supers in the regular game because only 50 available.
Wow, that's pretty substantial. They're coming now, looks like close to the Red Room climb.
Yeah,
They're
we call
opting.
this Red Tower, and they're heading down towards Kraid in an old route. This is where you go first. It's the traditional, so-called intended boss order. So we're gonna go to Kraid, then Fantoon, and then Dragon, and then finally Ridley, as opposed to the new route, which goes to Fantoon first.
Now, with Cutie, I noticed a couple rooms back, they went ahead and did a damage boost into the door, kind of turning transparent. How exactly do those damage boosts function?
Okay, so damage boosts, the big thing about them is they're just quicker in general. And what you want to do there is when you get hit, you want to push the opposite direction the same as is facing at the same time as holding the jump. And that will push you a lot further than just moving, and it'll make it a lot quicker.
Interesting. A lot of tech in this game already, and we haven't even gotten past the 10-minute mark.
Nope. Well, these guys are two really good runners. I mean, and that's kind of a redundant statement since just to get into this tournament, you have to be pretty good.
So now they're going into Kraid, casually, pretty long boss fight, but we see Cutie here, and then now Sloater going into Morph Ball, reducing the lag frames
That's right.
from Kraid's emergence. Now say hi. And bye.
dual quick kills. Very nicely done, boys.
Pretty substantial loss if they were to fail that, but fortunately both of them grabbing it and now grabbing the Varia suit just seconds apart. Look,
Yeah, love the sync here. Yeah, that crate fight can cost you an extra 10, 30 minute. I mean, it can cost you a lot depending on how many times you missed. And, for some runners, they don't practice the normal crate fight. So if they don't get that quick kill, it becomes a bit of a stressful fight because they're just not used to killing crate that way.
beautiful damage boost from both of them to get through that room. Now they're going to be making their way over to Fantoon, and let's hope that Fantoon decides to play nice with both of them.
Okay.
There are
But
3
first,
patterns, correct?
yeah. Well, before we get to Fantoon, we have to do some cleanup down in Norfair. So this is actually the biggest reason why the new route is so much faster. They're going to have to double dip Norfair. That's where they're going to head right now. And they're going to pick up high jump boots, they're going to pick up speed booster, and they're going to pick up wave beam.
Ah, I see.
Whereas new route just goes to when they get down to Norfair, they get everything they need and then leave and never come back again.
And now Wave Beam also unlocks their ability to use X Factor, correct?
Yes. I don't know if these guys will be using X Factors or not on their Fantoon fight. So we'll have to see what happens there. The place you use X Factors on a lot of the bosses, it's the one special beam attack that's pretty commonly used. You'll see the Ice Shield oftentimes in a low percent run. You very rarely see what we call which is with the Ice Beam, obviously. You don't often see the Golden Shower, which goes with the Spacer Beam, or the I don't know if you even have a name for the one that goes with Plasma because it's so rarely used.
Interesting.
The special beam attacks basically combine charge and one other beam and the use of a power bomb.
Ah, I see. So X Factor being charge Wave Beam with a power bomb?
Yep. So every time you set it off, it costs you a power bomb.
Now, do you have to morph in order to do that, or is there?
Nope. Just gotta set up with the charge beam.
Nice.
And have the only on your menu. You have to go back to your menu and only set up the wave beam. You'll notice that neither of these guys picked up the Spacer beam. That's an extra safety that they could choose to do, but it slows you down for a few reasons. One, because you have to actually pick it up, but two, because when you go to Fantoon, if you are going to use X Factors, you have to do an extra menu to turn it off. And Cutie doing a very nice job getting up Bubble Mountain.
And we see Sloaters kind of falling a little bit behind. Part of it being in the high jump boots room. Looked like he had a couple of issues getting over that tall hump there that they put in to make sure you use those high jump boots to get out. Looks like Cutie pretty soon going to be getting the speed boost, correct?
Yep, this is the speed booster. And then we're going to get to what I think is the most important sequence break of the game. And this sequence break that we're about to see is it's one that you can do without any extra tech. You just need to be able to wall jump. Basically, they're going to go right now. They're going to go head down to wave beam. Now the game intends after you get the speed booster, it intends for you to go get your ice beam, go all the way up Red Tower to pick up your first power bombs, go all the way back down, fight Crocomire, go down, pick up your grapple beam, and then grapple across this area that Cutie's about to get to. But since we know how to wall jump, we don't want to go all the way through half the map just to get our wave beam. So you're going to watch, he's going to run across and he's going to wall jump off the end of this area so he can get up and get that wave beam.
Ooh, beautiful. Let's see if Sloater can match that execution.
Very nicely done. It can be a little bit dangerous if you fall on those spikes, but these guys have done this a lot. They know what they're doing. And even if you hit the spikes, you still can get from the spikes and jump up. And Cutie doing a very nice job getting out. And Sloater's the same. So now they're going to go ahead and come down this way through the Morph Ball Maze so they can get out much faster using what we call the Frog Speedway. And they're going to leave Norfair for a while.
Now, why does that have that name as the Frog Speedway?
Because it's speedy, and these enemies here, which are called B-Toms, they just look like frogs, so we call it the Frog Speedway.
Very accurate name.
Yeah.
Seeing Sloater go through it right now. You know, they're small, they're green. You go through so fast, you don't really get to see those alien features. So
Oh,
I think Frog is pretty fair.
and Cutie about a half an elevator apart from Sloaters. Uh, so this is pretty darn close. A lot can happen at this point. Well, let's hope they can keep this nice close match going.
Yeah,
Also,
for
I'm gonna point out that when they got out of crate, they had the opportunity to pick up an extra E tank, and neither one opted to pick up that extra E tank.
So they'll be finishing with just 3 E-tanks, correct?
They have the opportunity to pick up two more. It may depend on how the Ridley fight goes. They'll pick up there's an E tank in Meridia that they'll pick up for sure, and then after the Ridley fight, depending on how that goes. Ooh, and a very nice ledge grab with the charge beam from Cutie, getting up Red Tower without any trouble. And Sloter's doing the same, very nicely done. But yeah, they'll have the opportunity to pick up an E tank after Ridley that, depending on their energy situation at the time, they might choose to pick up. And this is where you get your power bombs. This is actually the Alpha Power Bomb location. We call it that because it's intended to be the first power bomb location, and you can see how far out of the way that would be if we were to do the so-called intended route that was created at the beginning when this game came out. Having to go all the way up here to grab those, just to go back down to Crocomire to get that grapple beam.
I see. So Real Cutie heading up now into, I believe, getting pretty close to that Fantoon fight.
Yeah,
No?
so that'll be next. The tough part here, they're gonna have to do what's called a CW. Oh no, they don't have to do. They'll do a Shine Spark across. I suddenly lapsed into new route tech. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna charge up a short charge here, and he's gonna charge through the door. Let's see if he goes. He looks like he may be going for the full ocean fly, and he almost gets it. Just slows down. Sloter's gonna do the same thing. Let's see if he gets it. Oh, same exact thing. And so they can still do another short charge here to get over the ocean. The game intends you to get across here with grapple beam. It actually is not too hard to jump across if you take off high jump boots. Normally, when you get up here, you would have your high jump boots like these guys have, and getting across that ocean with the high jump boots on, because as much as high jump will increase your height, it decreases how far you can go horizontally, and so it makes it a lot harder. So that in a new route situation, you have to do the CWJ strat or a horizontal bomb jump, and then you'll jump across using, since you don't have high jump boots, you can just jump across. Cutie's setting up for that X Factor you're talking about. So notice he's got power bomb selected, and so is Sloaters. Oh, and Cutie getting it fast.
Nice way to start off that fight for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that that's what he intended to do. Usually you want to start that shot right when Fantoon appears, but he was able to still get him. Looks like Sloaters is getting, looks like it's going to be a slow. It's unfortunate. Cutie already done.
Wow,
That was a
Fantoon
very
decided to
nice
be real
Fantoon
nice.
fight. Oh, and unfortunately for Sloaters, he's got two particles still coming around. And what happens there is when those particles are still floating, you can't shoot anything. So you got to wait for the particle to either hit a flame or hit Fantoon, or until they just disappear because it's been too much time.
Pretty rough, and we see, yeah, Fantoon really not treating Sloaters very well. Now, with that shine sparking, I noticed that it's decreasing their energy. Is it
Yes.
related to like is the shine sparking actually an intended mechanic?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, if you watch, one of the cool things about this game is it doesn't hand hold your hand, doesn't tell you anything, but if you they teach you stuff. So there's the Edecuns that teach you wall jumping. There's the Decora that teaches you how to shine spark. Plus, if you watch the intro scenes, you'll see a lot of tech that'll show you that you can do. It'll show you actually the plasma special beam attack, ironically, but it also shows you that you can do a crystal flash. It shows you can do shine sparking. It shows you how to do a horizontal bomb, not horizontal, a vertical bomb jump. So there's a lot of intended things that the game kind of hints at, but doesn't actually tell you, like in the user's manual or anything. And especially when you consider this is all not completely pre-internet, but there wasn't a whole lot of internet going around in 1994. So if you didn't, if you were like most of us and weren't on the internet, you had to figure out all these things yourself.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, this game definitely kind of ahead of its time as far as speedrunning is concerned. Have that much tech just built right in.
Well, and I often wonder if this was, I mean, one of the inspirations for the speedrunning came from this game because it was one of the, if not the first games, actually, the original Super Metroid 2, not Super Metroid, Metroid 2, the one for the Game Boy, uh, would give you your time. And Super Metroid tells you what your time is at the end. So initially, when people started speedrunning this, they didn't do real time; they did the in-game time based on those times that you found at the end. Cutie going through his bowling, and Sloater's about to do the same. And Cutie's gonna grab that gravity suit.
Now, what does this gravity suit do exactly?
Well, let's talk about the suits for a second. So the Varia suit halves the damage of everything. The gravity suit cuts it down to a fourth, but it also lets you move in water. So you notice how Cutie's just running straight through that water there. Without the gravity suit, he'd be moving much slower. So the gravity suit, for the most part, makes the Varia suit unnecessary, except for one very important part we'll see at the end, where the rainbow beam for the Mother Brain 2 fight will make them take 300 damage with Varia suit, 600 damage without Varia suit, even if they have the gravity suit. So they absolutely can't skip Varia suit unless they want to grab 3 extra energy tanks, which would be much, much slower. And while Sloaters picks up this energy tank, this will let me thank our sponsor, VIE.GG, for providing the prize pool for this tournament. Viewers can bet on races by typing !bet in chat and by clicking the link.
Yeah, but I mean, with any of these races, even if you kind of think there's going to be a clear winner, the fact that there's so much RNG in both Fantoon and in Dragon, especially, and also with Ridley, you know, that you really can't accurately predict, oh, this is absolutely going to be the way the race finishes out. So
Yeah.
if you want to make those races a bit more exciting for yourself, go ahead and put a couple pounds down. Must be of legal betting age, of course, but go check them out.
Yeah, we still have a lot of race to go, a lot of things that can happen. And sometimes you just get a little unlucky at something. So now they're going to head into Meridia. They'll break the tube here, which
You
was a
know what?
pretty cool thing when it first came out. I'm actually pretty certain I figured that one out by seeing there was actually a commercial that showed a player breaking the tube there. And I'm pretty certain that's how I figured out that that's what you had to do.
Wow. I mean, hey, like it's not the most intuitive thing, you know. You'd think that they would have splurged for that nice plexiglass, bulletproof, whatever, but that is also part of the reason that the new route saves so much time is they get super bombs before ever crossing into this tube, right?
Uh, yeah. Again, it's really about the Norfair backtrack more than anything else. And then the last thing they'll do in New Route is this part right here, Meridia. Cutie setting up for an X Factor on the bot wound fight, because of that extra backtrack. So these guys are going to finish Meridia, have to go all the way down to Norfair, all the way down to Lower Norfair, and then all the way back up. Whereas when you end at Meridia, it's a lot more efficient, and you don't have to go all the way back down. You've already just gone into Norfair the one time.
I see. Now,
Yeah.
is this area that Sloater's in, is this the Coliseum or somewhere nearby?
That is called Aqueduct, the room that he just left. Yeah, I don't know why. Some of these rooms were named long before I joined the community. So, and Cutie getting a very nice full halfie.
Beautiful
That
execution on that.
through the Coliseum. That room can be very slow and very annoying if you don't get that. Sloater's making very quick work of bot wound. That is the most common X factors that people use, is the one that starts off the bot wound fight, allowing him to do a 1 round. Bot wound taking 10 super missiles for 3,000 damage.
You see Cutie now going into that Dragon fight. Now, the full halfie, I remember reading that that was initially a TAS-only strat.
Well,
what changed?
It was thought to be a TAS only. Eventually, I can't tell you who figured out that it was able to do by humans. It's maybe somebody in chat could help us out and explain, say who, give credit to the right person. It used to, and the reason why we call it the full halfie is because originally it was thought that you could only do the halfie, which gets you through half the room. And then, of course, eventually it was figured out that you could do the full version, and so we call it the full halfie.
Now, is it
And
common to see people going for the full halfie in runs?
at this level, yes. Not everybody. It's a difficult trick. You have to hold that charge long enough to do those wall jumps and go through the door transition and get the right height jump. So it's by no means an easy strat. So a lot of people just don't go for it. But when you get to this level, the level these guys are at, I expect them to do it.
I see. Even in a
And-
race scenario, that's
oh yeah.
pretty wild. And we do see in chat, the current full halfie strat looks like it was made by Garrison and MSDS.
Yeah, thank you to Canadian Owl for that information.
All right, so now all they have left is the area leading all the way up to Ridley, correct?
Yep. So a couple things to mention here. So you notice that both of these guys turned blue when they finished their Dragon fights, or when they got a nice blue suit from doing a quick charge there. Cutie managed to get a spike suit by hitting those spikes at the right frame. Sloaters did not. He's just using the blue suit, and that allows him to shine spark back across. The biggest difference between the blue suit that Sloaters has and the spike suit that Cutie got is Sloaters cannot touch the run button, so he has to go all the way through without doing that, whereas Cutie was able to go through a little bit faster because he was able to touch the run button. And here we're going to get our plasma beam, the most powerful beam of the game.
And is this beam actually skipped in the new route? Since
That's
it would only
correct.
be. Yeah, they can't really justify using it just for just for Mother Brain.
Right. A plasma beam saves a lot of time on Ridley, saves a lot of time on Mother Brain. But since you're already done with Ridley by the time you get to Meridia, you're only going to get the time save on Mother Brain. So it becomes 20 shots versus 60 shots. But those extra 40 shots not having those extra 40 shots does not save enough time to justify going to get it.
Now, was that one of the moonwalk falls from Cutie there? It looked like he fell through that room really quickly.
Yeah, I would guess so. I actually didn't see him start it off, but yeah, I mean, anytime you're falling vertically using that moonfall is going to save a little bit of time. Probably not as much of a time save there. The biggest time saves for that moonfall really are at the very beginning in the climb, and there's some places if you do hundo where there's quite a bit of time save you can get using the moonfall. But a lot of those rooms we won't see because we're only going for any percent. We're not going to stop and pick up every item.
I hear you on that. Shoutouts to Halo Child 2. Not going to be using those specific 3 words anymore, but same sentiment.
Okay, so now we're going to head back into Norfair. Head down to Ridley. But first, they got to pick up a couple of items. They're going to pick up their ice beam now. That'll make the shots, make it a 20-shot Ridley fight. And then they're going to head on down. There's actually a couple ways to head on down. So kind of the so-called northern route and the southern route. So you'll see Cutie's about to pick up his ice beam. And this will complete the beam combo for him. The ice beam adding the least amount of power, but we really want that ice beam to be able to kill the Metroids. You can use power bombs to kill the Metroids, but that's a slow process, and you'd want to have 15 to do it because 5 would mean a bunch of refilling after killing 1 or 2 rooms worth of Metroids. Don't want to be doing that. So we'll see which way Cutie goes. Looks like, is he going for the mock ball? Yeah, he gets the mock ball out. That's actually a very tricky mock ball. Very nicely done. So he's going to take the so-called northern route, which is basically going back through that Frog Speedway. The other option is to go towards Crocomire. So we'll see. So if you saw that first room they went in for the ice beam, there are some power bomb blocks, and if you fall through there, it'll take you down to what we call the Croc Speedway, and then you can go towards Lower Norfair from there. We'll see which way Sloaters decides to go. Misses the mock ball, so let's see. Maybe Yeah, so since he missed the mock ball out, he's going to take that southern route. So that's cool. We're going to see the other route. They're supposed to be a little bit faster if done optimally. But of course, anytime you have to add the words done optimally, uh, that doesn't guarantee it's actually going to be done faster. So
Exactly right on that. And we do notice too, Sloaters skipping a pretty substantial drop earlier, looking at his energy tanks compared to Real Cuties.
yeah,
Maybe
that
trying.
energy count is pretty low, but he should be okay. He could have taken that refill, what we call the Nutella refill, after Nutella. Um, Fun fact: Sloaters has his own refill named after him that we didn't see. That's at the bottom of Red Tower.
Oh. Now, what would cause a refill or any item really to be named after a player here?
Doing something really good there, or doing something really stupid there. Or
Sounds
in the
like a.
case of Sloaters, I believe the refill got named after him because when he was first playing this game, he used it all the time. You'll
Ah.
notice Cutie being in what we call the worst room of the game, doing a very nice job getting through it. And remembering to space jump into the uh, next room, into the amphitheater, which will make it that much quicker. Sloater's setting up for fast pillars, basically doing a short charge so he can go right through these pillars here.
Now, that spinning motion that he sustained all the way through that previous room, what was that? What was going on with that?
Well, he's got this. They picked up the space jump after Dragon, and that allows him to jump in midair. Space jump being an interesting item. It's actually my favorite item of the game, but it is a finicky item. It's very easy to lose those jumps and fall all the way down, and it's very hard to get them back when you do. Sloater's also doing a very nice job of keeping his space jump going.
Now in what looks like one of the NSA office rooms.
Yeah, Sloater's going through what we call the wasteland area, and Cutie going through the metal pirates, or sometimes I like to call them the ninja pirates because the way they kick. And he's about to go into his Ridley fight. One thing you'll notice here, and this is one of the other differences you'll see between new route and old route, these guys are going to use their charge ice wave plasma combo for the entire fight. And the reason they do that, it's not because it's faster. It is actually DPS wise faster to use your supers. However, they want to conserve those supers for the end of the game. If they use too many, then that makes it so they have to rely more on RNG for Metroid drops and/or stop the ship to refill. Neither one of which we want to deal with. When you do new route, typically you'll use more of those supers because one, your beam combination, having the spacer instead of the plasma, means 60 shots at Ridley, so it takes a lot more. Plus, typically you do Ridley before Kraid, and with Kraid, you have the little mini Kraid guy, and mini Kraid is pretty much a guaranteed at least 4 super drop. So you get a nice kind of a free refill as you go through that mini Kraid, and you're going to go through them twice. And Cutie doing a very nice job with his Ridley fight. Hopefully Sloaters can do the same.
Looks like he's doing pretty well so far. Ridley deciding to play fairly nice overall. Missing one shot there just due to a kind of strange pattern. Now, they're having to kind of, in some ways, guess at Ridley's pattern, correct? Whenever he goes off the screen like that?
A little bit. There is some manipulation you can do with Ridley, in particular when he starts pogoing. If he's pogoing in the wrong direction, and what you really want is to get him pogoing so you can stand on that ledge to the left with your foot slightly over, and then you won't get hit. If he's going the other direction, if you fire a shot, any kind of shot, he will typically turn around and pogo in the direction you want. Then you can get quite a few free shots off of him. Also, if you jump too much, he will swoop more. So that's one thing to watch out for.
A lot of optimization going into that fight. And, you know, it's always amazed me that games from this era can actually be reliably manipulated, but it's all still fairly complex overall. Like you have to know a lot about how the boss exactly behaves in order to
Right.
accomplish that.
Yeah, and you'll notice Cutie just went through what we call the Three Musketeers. I kind of call that the last middle finger the game gives you, saying you're not not so fast, my friend. You still got to get through this. So he used his beam combo. Those things take a ton of shots if you don't have the full beam combo using the charge beam.
So now they're going to be making their way over to the wrecked ship, correct, for the final fight?
You mean Torian. They did the wreck ship. That's where
Oh,
Pantune
my
is.
bad.
That's
My bad.
okay. Yeah, they're gonna head over to Torian, the last part of the game.
For some reason, looking at the map, I assumed the wrecked ship was Ceres Station, but
Ah, that's okay. Oh, Slaughter's gonna yeah, getting through with a few damage boosts, 56 energy. He knows he's behind, so he's trying to do whatever he can to catch up here. Gonna be pretty tough at this point, but things can still happen. I don't expect either of these guys to stop at the ship.
would
Uh,
definitely be an odd decision.
well, Slaughter's with the better ammo count, Cutie with the better energy count, but neither one of them is hurting in ammo. I'd be a little more concerned about Slaughter's energy, but as long as you do the Metroid rooms pretty well, you're going to get that energy back very quickly. Yeah, and Cutie showing where space jump can sometimes be a bit of a pain. You'll notice he started to jump up and fell down. That's space jumping a little finicky.
So is that because there's only a brief window that you can execute that multi jump, or because like he just attempted it too early?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a timing thing, like you say. If you don't time those jumps quite right, you're gonna lose that space jump, and and it is more difficult to space jump vertically than it is to space jump horizontally.
Because it looks like each of the jumps not gaining a whole lot of height, so I can definitely
No,
see where mistiming in a bit can kind of cause you to just end up exactly where you started.
and you'll notice on Slaughter's screen, it's actually a little faster to continue just doing wall jumps. So you'll notice he's doing some wall jumps into this big area, then he does the regular space jumps. Also, space jump being even more finicky when you're not in water. Yeah, the water version of the space jump is a little bit easier to control. And as expected, Cutie does not stop at the ship. He's just gonna head right on down.
Let's see what Slaughter ends up deciding.
Yeah, I don't see Slaughter stopping at the ship either.
And you gotta love this map design because I mean, this area is kind of one of the first you tend to visit in the game, but you know, definitely a lot changes between
Yeah,
now and then.
yeah, I remember playing this game the first time, and you go into that room, and it's like, okay, there's these statues that aren't doing anything. Okay, I can't do this yet.
Yep.
But one of the cool things that Metroid did for us, and not so much this version of it, but the very first version of it, uh, for the first time, you didn't just go right. I mean, we're talking in the mid '80s where you had games like Super Mario Brothers, and everything was go right, go right, go right. And the first thing that happens in the original Metroid is, in order to progress, you have to go left and pick up a morph ball. And that was actually pretty groundbreaking for its time. That hadn't been done before. So definitely a shout out to that. And in fact, I do know there are people that didn't get very far in the game because they didn't think, oh, I can go left.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wonder how many people kind of got frustrated and returned the game being like, it doesn't work, it's broken.
Who knows? And as we wait through this cutscene, Cutie having just gone through it and Slaughter's waiting on it, let's again thank our sponsor, VIE.gg, for providing the prize pool for this tournament. Viewers can bet on races by typing !bet in chat and clicking the link.
Metroid's giving Cutie just a little bit of a hard time.
He's what he was doing there. He's grouping them, so he only has to use ammo for one bit of ammo on all of them instead of having to use ammo for separate ones.
Ah, smart.
Doing a very nice job in Metroid Room 2. He looks like he only picked up 3 packs. Looks like Slaughter's picked up 4 packs. So he's got to be a little more careful. He really wants to make sure one of these Metroids drops a super missile and he gets it. You'll notice for that last one, he used regular missiles because worst case scenario with those regular missiles, there is a missile refill, but missile refills don't refill your supers.
So definitely a smart move, just trying to increase that super count. Slaughter's gonna have to do the same. Looks like he's
Yep.
actually getting a bit of a better grouping there.
Yep. Yeah. Also purposely grouping those Metroids in order to kill them all at once.
Now, of course, we got the big guy, the title of this game, the Super Metroid.
Yeah, well, it's the baby Metroid come back. Cutie missing the baby skip. This could give Sloaters a chance to catch up if he hits the baby skip. Basically, the idea being that you're going to jump around a bunch of times, uh, fire off, get rid of that extra grass or whatever that stuff is, and go through the door without being caught. So now, not only is he going to lose time for having been grabbed, he's also going to lose time because now he has to take this refill. Notice he went ahead and missiled the door first. That's going to help him with his ammo count.
Smart move. Now, how long do doors stay open in that situation?
When he comes back, it's just going to now be a blue door.
Oh, I see. The missile doors never go back to being missile doors.
Right. Same thing with super missile doors, and same thing with the power bomb doors. And you might wonder why he uses the super missiles in these next two parts. So keep in mind, using a super missile is going to be worth 300 damage to anything he goes after, and Sloaters gets the baby skip, so that might allow him to catch up a little bit. So those super missiles are going to do 300 damage. The regular missiles are going to do 100 damage each. But if you're going to use 5 of them, that's 500 damage that you're using up instead of the super missile using 300 damage. So you really want to use those supers there. And Cutie having just enough ammo to get through the Mother Brain 2 fight, or Mother Brain 1 fight.
And meanwhile, Sloater's looking like he got a faster clip through that first
He
vial.
did.
And because of that, that's why the other vials don't spawn, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, they're called Zebatites, and we call that the Zeb skip or the Zebitite skip. And yeah, it's a glitch in the game. One of the few true glitches that we use in the any percent run. He basically, by skipping through the first one, the rest of them do disappear. The danger of that is if you do run out of ammo in Mother Brain 1, you're basically soft locked. You can't go back. Whereas if you shoot them, you can go back, refill your missiles, and go back. But of course, that would be really slow. Cutie already in his ketchup beam stage. Basically, this is the 20 shots, and after Mother Brain has slightly more than 75% damage, that's when those ketchup beams will start. And this could come down to the escape, how well they execute it. Right now, Cutie having enough of a lead, it's going to be hard for Sloaters to catch up, but it's by no means over. This is also close enough that this is still anybody's match.
Now that Super Metroid, after stealing all of your energy, decides, I still want more, and Mother Brain looks like a great target.
Yep. And he's the baby Metroid coming to save you. I always imagine that the baby Metroid is basically sucking your energy and then Mother Brain's energy in anticipation of refilling your energy later.
It's a nice way to imagine it. I mean, it looks up to you as a mother figure, that intro saying it follows you like a lost child. Kind of neat, I think, how they integrated the plot of Metroid 2 so well into this game.
Yeah, and the other thing I really love about this game is it just doesn't beat you over the head with the storyline. The storyline just tells itself, just from, you have that beginning cutscene that we don't ever see because in a speedrun we don't play it. But after that, it's all told, the whole story is told just by the game itself.
And of course, that Metroid sacrificing itself to save Samus here.
Yeah, one of the sad moments in video game history.
Top 10 anime deaths, number 1. So now they have the final beam of the game, the Rainbow Beam.
Yep. Or called, we call it the Rainbow Beam because it's a rainbow, but technically it's actually called the Hyper Beam, and the two are used interchangeably. And
Hyper Beam.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go on. Oh, sorry, I was going to say the Hyper Beam making appearances in later games too, correct? I think in Metroid Prime they call it like the Phazon Beam.
Yeah, Metroid Prime I don't have a lot of expertise on Metroid Prime, so someone in chat can confirm that. I stick with the 2D Metroids.
Not a bad move. I mean, they're definitely quality 2D platformers that have really stood the test of time.
Yeah, they really have, especially this one.
I mean, the fact that we're watching a race of this right now and it's this close with how skilled both these runners are, I mean, that's definitely a true test.
Yeah, and almost 25 years after this game came out, so. Okay, now we've got the escape. This room here being the most difficult part of the escape. The so-called Leodoc's room, named after Leodox, who apparently failed this room a few times. Cutie gained the very last moonfall of the game. Very nicely done. Cutie getting the so-called behemoth spark up the climb area. And that's about the last thing that really could have gone wrong for him. So it looks like he's going to pull this one out. And
Very
not by
nice
much.
race. Oh yeah, just a few seconds. Looking at that in-game timer, it looks like about 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, Sloater's also getting a very nice behemoth spark there.
Definitely not a climb that you really want to deal with, like you would in original Metroid.
And Cutie's done. It's like about a 44.55. Looks like Sloaters is going to be done at... Clock stopped at 44.58, but I say it was in the ship at 44.55, and Sloater's done at 45.10. GG to both runners.
Yeah, just beautiful run from both of them. Really, the only just minor mistakes. I mean, I really think Cutie's biggest time loss was probably just that failed baby skip.
Yeah, and just his execution just was a little bit better overall. Plus, I think the biggest unfortunately, I hate to say this, which because it really sucks when this is the big factor, but Cutie's Fantoon fight gained him a lot of time that really held up throughout the run, because he was able to get a fast on his first pattern, and Sloater's got a slow on his first pattern, and Cutie was able to 2-round Fantoon. It took Sloater's a little bit longer to get through that Fantoon fight, so that's probably, I'd call that the biggest factor in this run, and it's kind of unfortunate that was what it came down to, because that's total RNG, and there's really not a whole lot the runners can do about that.
Yeah, honestly, a shame, but I mean, ultimately, part of the game, and I mean, the level of technical execution, there are a lot of things Sloaters could have done to, I think, make up that differential.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I mean, there's all sorts of little things that could have happened, but unfortunately, the problem is Cutie also would have had to mess up a little bit. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. And as we looks like we're going to get these guys in for an interview, but let me, before we do that, thank our sponsor again, vie.gg, for providing the prize pool for this tournament. Viewers can bet on races by typing !bet in chat and clicking on the link. And looks like we have both of these guys here, Sloaters and Cutie. How do you feel about your runs?
Oh, my early game was actually really good. I mean, I had a few mistakes in upper north there, but then when I hit that fast mid Fantoon, I was on PB pace through Meridia until the Dragon fight. So I was definitely already on top and nervous for being a race. I was real nervous once I hit the full halfie, because that was definitely PB potential for sure to Dragon. But then I ended up missing the fight. But I pulled it back. I think I was actually, let me check. I think I was within 2 seconds of my PB at Ridley kill. Yeah, I was about 3 seconds on my PB on Ridley kill still. So I pulled it back, and then I had some sloppy escape, and of course I missed the baby skip. So.
And Sloaters?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. How do you feel about your run?
I mean, it was really good for me. That was the best power bomb time I've ever had in any run. Then the PB pace quickly died at Fantoon, but I mean the rest of it was really good. I got full halfie and the bosses were good, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I think that Fantoon fight really told the tale, because Cutie got a fast and a very quick 2-round, and you started out with a slow, and it just at that point you got behind and never really were able to catch up.
Yeah, unfortunately the pattern I got, it sometimes Fantoon like moves around kind of weird, and then you can miss X Factor particles like that. And I missed 2 of them, so I couldn't even really like make up the 2-round with like a Doppler. I like kind of had to stick to 3, and then he ended up giving me a fast, and I couldn't even do anything, so there were still particles, so that was kind of annoying.
Yeah, Fantoon being the usual troll. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, I mean, very good run by both of you. Very close. Were you guys, either of you, watching or listening as you were playing?
No, was not. I didn't want to. The past few races I tried to, and it just kept distracting me, so I decided not to. And I thought I might have had a pretty comfortable lead, but when I failed baby skip, I was sweating a bit.
Yeah, that definitely made it a little bit closer.
Yeah, I didn't have, for the last races I've had mine up, but I decided to turn it off this time, and yeah, I feel like it was a good decision to keep it off, because I probably would have been a lot more nervous if I saw how close it was.
Yeah, I mean that was really close at the. I mean, it's great that you guys put on such a nice show for us. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for you, Sloaters, in this tournament. Cutie, you're going to play the winner of Toasty Muffins versus Feral. So, how do you feel about that match, Cutie? Okay.
Looks like the concept of either of those making him just rendered speechless.
Yeah, apparently. And Sloaters, let me ask you one other question. So, you always do the same route as your opponent. Any regrets about that? Do you feel like maybe if you had to do over again, would you consider doing new route here instead of old route?
No, absolutely not. Like, if I did a new route run and I ran like a 44 or something, or even like a high 43, and I beat Cutie with that when he got like a high 44, it wouldn't really feel like a real win to me because they're just totally different, and it I don't know. It feels weird competing against people with like different routes and saying like I had a much cleaner run than them when that may not always be true.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Oh yeah, no, I totally respect it, and hopefully it put up a pretty good race. I'm actually pretty excited to watch this one back.
Yeah, I mean the old versus new. I mean, there's a lot of people that concentrate on only one or the other, and it's pretty cool when we see some runners that can really very well execute both of them. So yeah, it's very nice that and also good for the viewers to do just the one route. It makes it easier for them to follow. Although I kind of like commentating the old versus new because there's just so much you can talk about when you compare the races. But yeah, from a
Hmm.
viewer standpoint, just being able to see that they're doing the same route and being able to know who's ahead is certainly a nice thing.
Absolutely. Um, I'm looking forward to it because I reached one of my goals with the old route, so I'm looking to be like Sloaters here and be proficient at both of them in the next few months. So
Mhm.
I'm
Heck yeah.
excited.
Okay. So anyway, looks like we're getting the high sign to wrap it up. Coming up next, we have the SM64 tournament, round of 16, 70 star tournament between Shands versus Best Triforce TK. The next Super
Ooh.
Metroid we got a couple races tomorrow. We have at 5:15, we have Elminster RTA versus Robotallion. And at 10 o'clock, actually, Sloaters is going to be joining me to commentate this one, Kip versus Shiny Zenny. Looking really forward to doing that. So a whole lot more Super Metroid coming up, lot more stuff going on this channel. I hope you guys all tune into that. Before we wrap it up, any of you guys have anything else you want to say?
No, I think I'm good. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.
Yep, good game, Cutie. Thank you, Tracy and Electric, for doing the commentary. Look forward to watching it back.
Absolutely, and just have to say one last time, great gameplay from both of you. I mean, it was a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up here. Stay tuned for SM64, and I will wrap it up with my normal for the rest of you, those of you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you may be.